Hello YouTube, this is One Piece Nerd back with another video. So a couple of days ago I made a video on Luffy's Gomu Gomu no Mi, whether or not it actually is, or like what it actually is. So far, as to what it seems, I might have been wrong. I might have been semi-right, but what the most believable thing so far we've heard is the Jushi Jushi no Mi, which is the raisin fruit, with a lot of backed up speculation from the community as to the chapter name, as for Oda's favorite panels, and all the references that has been made throughout the story so far as to see it's not actually a rubber fruit but it's actually a raisin fruit that is basically a tier above the rubber fruit. But that's not the point of today's video. Today's video, I'm going to speculate the previous users of both the Gomu Gomu no Mi and the Yami Yami no Mi. So this might come as a shock to some people, but I think it is a little obvious. But so today's video is basically consisting of a point that I will bring up now to you guys, and another point that I got from a video of Joy Boy Theories. So my point starts with the fact that the previous user of the Gomu Gomu no Mi was Goldie Roger. Was definitely Goldie Roger. Okay, I have backed up analysis for that. But you're gonna ask me, if he did have the Gomu Gomu no Mi, why did he not use it with his fight versus Whitebeard? That's because I don't think he had it that time. I think the time he got the Gomu Gomu no Mi was after he reached Raptail, got the information that maybe the Gomu Gomu no Mi, or whatever its name is the key to unlocking One Piece or to solving the whole mystery. So that probably might have happened after his final voyage and after he found One Piece. So, and that also gives us hints as to why Shanks was actually looking for it and actually stole it from CP9 12 years ago. So, now if the reason why this is so prevalent is because once you hear Shanks hearing what he has to say about Luffy to Rayleigh, he said to Rayleigh that I made a bet with the next generation, and I met a kid who said the same thing Captain did, which is I'll become king of the pirates, and one dialogue that we yet have no idea about. That is blanked out. Every single time he says his ultimate dream, it is blanked out, and Shanks has said that is the same thing that Roger said. So that is my basis for this whole thing. Now, the thing that actually happened, that Luffy saying the same thing as Roger, probably came from the whole inherited will concept. So we know that once Sabo had Ace's fruit, Sabo started acting like Ace. He had powers like Ace, he came up with Fire Fist, and he sort of acted like Ace overall when he fought against Burgess, and right after he comes home or consumed the Merinomi, he just resembled Ace in one way or the other. Now you're gonna say, well, they're sort of the same person, they're Luffy's brothers, want to be protective, but no. In fact, Sabo has never seen Ace fight. He has no idea about the Fire Fist, how to use it, and he used almost the same techniques as Ace, and a lot of the things he said resemble Ace, which is crazy. So that, I believe, that is a concept of where the previous user of the Gomu Gomu no Mi, or previous user of any devil fruit, has passes down some inherent qualities of themselves to the next generation or to the next person having it. So that's why I speculate that maybe Roger actually had the Gomu Gomu no Mi after his final voyage. That sort of that made Luffy speak the same thing as Roger. And I think that is why Shanks actually stole the fruit from CP9 in the first place. Because he saw Roger have it, Roger said something about the importance of that fruit, and maybe Shanks actually was meant to give it to Ace, but ended up being Luffy. Because Roger said, maybe the next Pirate King or whoever it is will be my son. That's why I think he was probably looking for Ace, but he gave it to Luffy. That's another theory that came up. But my point is, I think Roger had the Gomu Gomu no Mi before Luffy. And that's how Shanks found it and stole it from CP9. And that's where we are. Okay, as for the other part of the spectrum, the Yami Yami no Mi. The Yami Yami no Mi, I believe, was basically eaten by Zebek. Roxy Zebek. Now, you would say, What's your basis for that speculation? Okay, Blackbeard's ship is the savior of Zevek. He's inspired by Zevek. Everything he does up until now has been a follow-up of Zevek, other than following the One Piece. He has the will of D. He's looking for the One Piece. He has some ulterior motive that we have no idea about, but a lot of these actions lead to the same conclusion as when Rocks tried to destroy the world, or basically overthrow the world government. Blackbeard is trying to do the same thing. He's trying to gain power so that he can overthrow the world government, to find the One Piece, and to become the ultimate pirate king, or become the ultimate pirate, or whatever it is. And a lot of his motivations, I think, have something to do with Zebek. I don't think it's out of nowhere that he has an inspiration for Zebek. Because Zebek, very few people know about him. Very few people know about Zebek at this point. And Teach, I don't think he would have. I don't think 40 years ago, what's Blackbeard's age? Should be somewhere around 30 or 40. He shouldn't have been, so memorable as to remembering about that whole thing. Now, something else that's also been speculated is that maybe Zebek's soul resides within Teach. We know that Blackbeard might have three personalities. He might have three souls reside within him that allows him to have more than one devil fruit, and maybe Zebek is one of them. But a better speculation is him actually studying about devil fruits and sort of while staying with Whitebeard, I think he's somewhat figured out that Zebek was this historical concept, this guy who rivaled Roger, and he wanted to destroy the world and take over the world, and he had this formidable crew, and he knew about Kaido and Big Mom. I think staying with Whitebeard, I think, made him realize that, and maybe he wanted to follow his footstep. Or it's actually likely that his soul is actually there. And that's why I believe these two users, Zebek with the fruit of the Yami Yami no Mi, and Roger with the fruit of the Gomu Gomu no Mi, would actually make sense as to why, uh, both of them basically act like each other. Blackbeard's action basically lead him to becoming more like Zebek, and Luffy's action obviously becoming more like Roger. Two Ds, two parallel lines that never meet with the same exact goal in mind. As for the next theory that Joyboy Theories came up with, or I think it was from one of his comment sections, he said that maybe Zebek had the Gomu Gomu no Mi. I'm not talking. He didn't talk about the Yami Yami no Mi, but he talked about the Gomu Gomu no Mi. I think Zebek had the Gomu Gomu no Mi. That speculation came up because when Luffy, as of the latest chapter 1043, Luffy's hair looked Luffy's silhouette, or I don't know. Luffy's this whole slime thing looked like Zebek's silhouette. So that sort of blows my mind. I didn't realize it at first. I literally did not realize it. That would make more sense. If Zebek had the Gomu Gomu no Mi, that makes a little sense. I'll tell you why I don't believe it. So, if Zebek had the Gomu Gomu no Mi, the previous user, and if Zebek is a part of Blackbeard's soul, that would lead to the conclusion why Blackbeard wanted to go after Luffy in the first place. He wanted the Gomu Gomu no Mi, and he wanted to hand him over to the government so that he has all these access to his masterful plan. That makes sense. And maybe Blackbeard now, as his final devil fruit, probably wants the Gomu Gomu no Mi because it's so special. But you know why that doesn't make sense? Because if Zebek did have the Gomu Gomu no Mi, don't you think Garp would have known about it? If Zebek did have the Gomu Gomu no Mi, he didn't awaken it. He definitely did not awaken it, because if he did, Gorosei wouldn't be talking about how it hadn't been awakened over the last few centuries, and Zunisha wouldn't be saying this, that the Lambs of Liberation is now here after 800 years. He didn't awaken it. He definitely had the Gomu Gomu no Mi, the way Luffy had it. If he indeed had it. But my point is, if he actually had the Gomu Gomu no Mi, don't you think Garp would have mentioned something about it when he mentioned rocks? When Hina mentioned rocks, Garp said nothing about his fruit. Nothing. If it was the Gomu Gomu no Mi, he would have at least thought about it. Or at least gave some sort of a hint that rocks did have it. And that is a little unbelievable. But that also leads to the speculation that if Zebek did have the Gomu Gomu no Mi, Roger would have seen it, and he would have been like, okay, this is a power that no one else should have. And I think he told Shanks about it. And that's how Shanks sort of figured out, okay, this fruit cannot go to anyone's hand. This fruit needs to be with me in order to maintain the balance in the world. And I need to have the fruit. I need to take the fruit from CP9 to make sure the world government doesn't have it. And I need to make sure no other pirate with the wrong intentions get it. I think that's why he was looking for the right candidate to give it to. That makes more sense in terms of Shanks' whole motive. But I don't think it is the case, because I think if Rox did indeed have the fruit while he was a pirate for his full time, the Marines would have known about it. If Zebek had the same fruit as Luffy, Marines would have known about it, that, okay, Zebek, this guy from 40 years ago who was this monstrous thing, had this devil fruit, I don't think, and if Luffy could stretch, like, if Zebek could stretch like rubber like Luffy did, I don't think the government would have let Luffy survive in the first place. Immediately after the world government knew about Luffy's powers, they would have been immediately, wanting to go after him and sort of take him down. But they didn't do it. They said they didn't realize it. They've been discussing it only recently, after maybe talking with Im-sama, or maybe the whole thing about evil Shanks spilling the beans with the world government and how he's being a snitch and whatnot. That makes a little sense as to why they figured it out now. But, I mean, with all the facts considered, I think the first point, what I brought up, is a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. Because the parallels were there before, the parallels are here now. Luffy being the equivalent to Roger, Zebek being the equivalent to Blackbeard, Kobe becoming the equivalent to Garp. That makes the most sense in my opinion. Feel free to put your thoughts down in the comment section about this. This is blowing my mind. As of the recent chapter, I've been coming up with, so I know I'm going to be coming up with more theories. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys sort of enjoy the whole process of me spilling nonsense, which at the end of the day could result in nothing, but it's fun to speculate nonetheless. Appreciate for you guys watching. Until next time, see ya.